We are live. Welcome to the Survivor Washington Orting post-episode show number 2. I am here. I'm Hunter Snyder, the executive producer of Survivor Washington and host. And with me, as always, Heather Cannon, our resident fan, Jaden Osborne, our assistant producer. And we have 2 guests here with us today. One is Marissa, who will be offering her unique perspective on Survivor Washington, and the man himself, who came into this game playing strong, put himself in a great position. The Bob Ross shirt wearing man who pissed himself out of the game, Nico Hulse.
What's up?
Nico, I love your background.
Oh yeah, I just didn't want to get dehydrated during the podcast.
Yeah. You're going to be getting up, I guess, several times?
Yeah, just don't cut me out of the feed midway. I'll be back, I promise.
Yeah.
Okay.
Get the kid
We're going to see him.
I'm
pop
just
up
going to the
and
bathroom, I swear.
You'll be in Marissa's background, Jaden's background, Heather's background. Like, hey, let's.
Hey, you got a bathroom?
Can I use your bathroom?
That would definitely be me if I went on Survivor because I drink water constantly.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, just pee by yourself.
It's gonna, Nico. You are going to involve
I have some
the meta game of Survivor Washington in the sense that next season people literally will not want to be at the water well or near the outhouse because they're worried about pulling a Nico.
Well, that's because there were some stupid rules in play where we had to have guests with us every time we left to the water well. So it was in the
being
rules.
a gentleman.
Yes,
you were being a gentleman.
I was following the executive
We will discuss
rules.
Yes, Nico. So Nico will, of course, discuss his side of the story as we get started. So Nico,
Yes.
overall thoughts on the second episode from your perspective as a character of Survivor Washington.
I mean, my overall thoughts, obviously, I had a pretty strong start, a lot of airtime. I appreciated that. Wasn't fond of the ending, total blindside. Thought I had it on lock. So, no, I mean, it was a good episode. Sucks watching the challenge over again and knowing we were 1 point away from me sticking around just a little bit longer. Maybe if I wouldn't have stood there and let Brett beat me like a bitch, I maybe would have had an extra opportunity to stick into the game. But yeah, I woke up from a nap like right before we went to the challenge, so I was still kind of out of it. So we had about 8 hours in between tribals.
Yeah, the great time delay. So that's something we'll actually be talking about in this episode after we get done with the whole reflection, Nico. So Nico, there were a lot of Survivor contestant or a lot of Survivor fans on this season. You were probably one of the bigger ones. I'd say that in a pool in your general casting area, when we went through casting, and I told you this, and I told everybody this. I was like, Nico was probably the only applicant with his archetype that actually stood out because he wasn't talking purely about I want to come out here and make big moves and I want to make blindsides. But it was endearing. So, Nico, tell me about not the most recent time, but the first time you applied for Survivor Washington. And when was that?
I think the first time was whenever you put out the first series of applications for people to apply.
And for those that aren't aware, back when there was a requirement that you had to be under 18 to do so.
Yeah, and I wasn't. I was just really wanting to hang out with younger people. Most of the people in my age group weren't really, fond of me anymore. So I was trying to, reach out to a younger group.
Yeah. And
Very Jeff Probst of you.
Yeah.
So him and Corey both applied for once Survivor Washington Sumner came out. And I gave them both kind of like rude responses. And I'm like, this is definitely not a game for adults. Like, this is for high school students.
No, I don't remember
But then afterwards, when I was like, we're doing 18 and up, I went through all the other applications that we had. And I was like, I read Nico's application again. And I was like, I actually like this. And I'm going to message this guy again and make him apply again because I kind of want to see him on the show. And so you get the email, Nico. And are you just like, you're instantly, actually, I remember an email back from you. You were like, instantly, I'm getting it done. You had the application in within hours.
Yeah. I think you sent me the email, and I was sitting in a dark room by myself, as I do. And I think I got the email immediately, and it was like, oh, cool. This random stranger really likes me. So I guess I'll just feed into that and apply back. So yeah, I think I filled out the whole application in like 10, 12 minutes and sent it right back to you. Yeah, it was pretty quick from when once I saw it.
And then the process begins, and you get ready for it, and you're told that you're so. And you played many online games, but you haven't played a live game. So,
Not a real
in
life.
essence, this is your first chance to go out and play Survivor.
Yeah,
without
I mean,
being on the show. Like this is like minor leagues.
yeah. So
But-
I did. Yeah, I did. I used to do live games at my house with my.
I did not know this.
Yeah, no, it was when I was like 14.
Okay.
My cousins used to be into Survivor, and I would do online games, and I would take little wooden blocks and do puzzles, and it was like 8-person Survivor, and they would usually vote me out first because none of them wanted to be Jeff Probst.
This isn't new to you. This is
that's why I wasn't super upset. Yeah, I'm well accustomed. So
You've gone pro in losing Survivor. Got it.
Dramatically, yeah. More access on the online than the offline because they don't know when I'm peeing, so I've been able to keep that a secret.
It's so let's go. Let's
Catherine.
warp. Let's fast forward days before the game. You're about to play Survivor. What's going through your head? Is there like a lot of? I know somebody specifically asked this question. How much prep did you do right before the game started?
Yeah, so it was the King West. Yeah, I mean, I was prepping for a while. I mean, once I found out that you were going to have me on as a contestant, which I believe was last fall, you got back to me pretty quickly and said, "Hey, you're on the show unless you decide to change your mind otherwise." And so for about 8-9 months, however long it was that I knew I was prepping, I have I don't know if I didn't bring my backpack down. I have a book on the psychology of Survivor. I've got about 4 books on Survivor that I was reading through. I rewatched every season up through season 28 with my wife because she never watched them, to refresh myself. Did a lot of evolution of strategy podcasts. I listened to all of those about 2 or 3 times. Never went outside because God forbid. But yeah, I did a lot of prepping, a lot of just silent time in the shower, thinking about different types of scenarios, mindsets I was going to get myself into, different situations. Trying to stalk people who I thought may or may not be on the show based off of relationships with you.
Or based off of emails
that you sent out.
were accidentally sent out.
Like, I know, is it Marissa?
Oh, did I just-
Marissa?
Yeah, I thought you were going to be out there at one point because you were friends with Hunter. I was pretty sure Lindsay was going to be out there because he was friends with Hunter.
So you were stalking all of us.
Everyone that Hunter was associated with that he talked to on a mild basis. Yeah, I was just assuming they were going to be out there. So I was following people with my my Island Talk Twitter page, not my personal page, to kind of help cover myself up.
I recall this. Yes, I recall that.
Yeah.
Yep. You
So-
did like a long time ago.
Yeah,
You did prep.
hella
You
prep.
still lost.
Yeah, it did absolutely nothing for me. So
Well, and to be fair,
that's
though,
rough.
like you had it, like you were doing good. Like there was no reason to believe that you weren't doing good until the water well situation.
yeah.
Was there a time before the water well situation? Because it kind of seemed like an instant situation.
Yeah,
No.
that was an ongoing thing from the
Yeah.
start.
That was it.
No. It was instantly. I remember because I remember this is what happened. So we did
Because at what point
confessionals.
did you decide I'm just gonna start following people to the bathroom in the well? Like this is gonna be my next.
Oh
move.
no! I was
got this.
referring to the fact that he wasn't a target until people started seeing that.
Yeah, but I feel like they picked up on it pretty quick.
No, not even. It wasn't until Sheree up until the point. So I did confessionals for 2 rounds, for 2 episodes. I found out that the confessionals from the first episode did not record audio, which is why in this episode, everybody's in the same position as the first when we had audio. So by the time I came around to redo the confessionals, before that point, everybody was talking about getting rid of Sheree. There was talk of getting rid of Kaya. There was talk of getting rid of even I think
Sheree.
Setu was a name was floating around. So
I
there
missed
was
all of that, by the way. So
there was a ton of there were names floating around, and then when I come back to redo the confessionals, all of a sudden I get to the confessional where I think it was Lindsay's Nico is sneaky and he is doing all this. And I'm like, whoa, I'm totally taken aback by this. It was sudden, pretty sudden.
Yeah, so I have no idea what any of you guys just said because I like completely lost my feed, so I just dropped out and came back in.
Discussing
on my screen.
Like the delay and the 1,000 F-bombs and all that stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
it was.
faithful.
It was weird. Like I came in and I felt like I was pretty solid with Kitty, Stefan, and Kaya and Lindsay. And yeah, it was fine. We went through the first challenge and I kicked ass on the puzzle and I was fine. And yeah, it was Kaya, I think, and Kitty, I think, came up to me and said, let's get charade first. So it wasn't even my idea. I just kind of rolled with it. And then we had that it was like a 2 or 3 hour delay where we were just sitting around doing nothing after the Molly boot. And we just got bored. And all we had to do is eat Cheerios and drink water. And I just drank a lot of water. And since I'm a small human, I pee a lot. So I kind of just kept going back to the water a lot by myself too. So it wasn't like I was always with other people. I was joking that most of the time it was like 98% me going to the bathroom and only 2% me actually talking to anybody. That's why I was laughing afterwards that they said it was the water trips that it did me in, because I'm like, that's just complete nonsense.
And
Well, I was gonna say-
no, go for it.
Like,
Jake.
wasn't it like a 4-hour span? How many times can you do pee within 4 hours?
Oh, well.
At this point,
Like,
we
as
were
a girl
like,
with a small
A
bladder,
lot.
it's so the hours of Survivor watching are calculated based off of the events rather than the hours themselves. At this point, because we had so many delays in the day, whether it be for equipment or just because we started 2 hours late because we didn't have a crew. The crew did not show up, so we had to use child labor, and two, because we were running behind. So like at this point, we were maybe about like 3:30, started at 10 by the time Nico was voted out. So
Yeah, well,
maybe
because
later.
it was close, yeah, because we got there at like 7 o'clock, and then we didn't start on time, though.
We started at like, I want to say like almost 10, close to 10.
Yeah, we started late, and then we did
Still
the
too many
first
people.
challenge. It was after afternoon by the time I was voted out, because there was that couple-hour delay between when the mic stopped working. So I mean, it was probably
Still too
2
many.
o'clock. And I'm a nervous peer, admittedly.
Yeah. Real nervous bladder.
And I wasn't even that nervous when we were actually playing. It was more just we were sitting there. I drank like 8 or 9 bottles of water while we were sitting there.
What was your first problem?
Yeah, I was thirsty. There wasn't a lot to do, and I think I was trying to not be dehydrated, and I kind of overcompensated, I guess. And but I mean, yeah, we came up with the games. Like I came up with like the little cornhole with the bottles and whatever the hell, or we used the tent pick, that, and then they came up with hot potato, and I mean, we were trying to do things to pass the time, but I mean, yeah, it was boring as hell for a while, and so I think that lull was what really did me in. I was talking to my buddy that's watching the show, and he asked, how did it go badly so quickly? I'm like, it wasn't really that quick. It was just a matter of there was a huge delay and people got bored, and it just gave people more time to get paranoid. I felt like if we would have immediately went to tribal, or went to the challenge after the tribal and then went to the tribal, I might have been safe, because a lot of when it started to get sketch was in that 2 or 3 hour gap where we were kind of just sitting around. I think that really hurt me.
So let's go on that lighter note. What were some things from camp or from your experience out there that weren't strategy wise that you like found interesting or fun or had a good time with, or something like didn't make air? What are your insider stories from the Wilkeson camp?
I have some insider stories from the Wilkeson camp. Some of them that'll more or less remain not really named contestants, but we had supposedly a camp drug dealer, so that was fun. I'm gonna get a hate message from them later, but I won't name them. So that was kind of a fun moment. We were all talking about getting jacked up before the second challenge. Of course, we didn't. We would have performed much better. But so that was some fun stuff we had going on at camp. I mean, just the games, that was fun.
I would like to note really quick as you're saying that, because I know that there are future applicants watching, the people that will play in the future, you will be patted down.
You will be patted down.
There's
Yeah.
no joke. You
So
will be patted down.
Hide it well.
It was not.
You better go full hatch. You better
It
go
was
Richard.
not at the camp. It was not at the camp. I can say that it was not at the camp. There was going to be expeditions made.
Oh, I know. Oh, I know. I already know. I know everything.
Weasel Woo in the Survivor Washington cast.
No, I'm just saying that
Yeah,
happens
no.
again.
Hey, we're a green state.
You legitimately no. I'm saying like if that happens again, if that happens in a future season, you will be pulled out. To all the people watching and all the people that want to play this game, if that happens, you will be pulled out.
Yeah. That's like
And
next level beef
would-
jerky.
Yeah, I would feel very,
That's
very,
really
very bad for the
reasonable.
people that I didn't cast if somebody insulted the integrity of the rulebook, the integrity of the game, and the integrity of how much I've worked. And a lot of people have worked on this project to do that. I'm not saying you, by the way.
Oh,
Nico.
no,
I'm
it
saying
was
just
it was definitely more of
putting
a
it out there.
it was more of a joking thing than actually being serious. I was more saying it lighthearted than anything.
Okay.
I didn't mean
No,
to crush
I know.
down on the mojo here. But
no, it's all good. I'm stating the.
that was fun. I mean, the camp games were fun. I think we enjoyed doing that. Kind of playing the games. I mean, from a non-strategy point, I mean, like I said, it was just a lot of downtime. I mean, I don't know if there's anything in particular that was like interesting. I mean, we all seem to get along pretty well. Just kind of getting to know each other. I don't know if there's anything in particular that stood out though.
So, do you guys have any questions for Nico? All right.
I was going to say, just with, he said that Kitty and Kaya suggested Sheree to go, and that you didn't really, like, you were just fine with that and went along with it. You gave a confessional in the episode, though, saying about how you were kind of like the driving force behind the first boot. Was that still the Sheree plan, or?
Yeah, that was the charade plan, and it wasn't even that I was trying to be the driving force. I was actually trying to avoid that, and I even said that in my later confessional.
Yeah.
And what kind of happened was so the girls pitched Sheree like early on, kind of saying, hey, she's kind of like the one or older person on our tribe. She doesn't really watch Survivor. We kind of all really want to be here. I mean, she wants to be here, but it was more of us like we felt like she'd be an easy first person to go, unless someone ended up standing out more so later. So I was like, yeah, that's fine. I didn't want to throw any names out. So I just kind of said, yeah, that's fine. And then as people would ask and say, hey, who are we going? Have you heard any names? I would just say, Sheree, that's it. Like I wasn't throwing any other names under the bus. I was just keeping it pretty straightforward with everyone, not trying to throw out a bunch of different names. But I think from before the final, before our challenge, before we went to the tribal, and then after, it kind of started to steer towards me, as in they were asking, hey, who do you want it to go? Like they were trying to put it on me. But I think it's because they were trying to make me feel comfortable and like I was making the decision, which started to give me kind of a tell that something was going on because we'd already kind of set the decision it was going to be Sheree. And I'm like, well, yeah, why are you asking me who I want to go? Like, we've already had this conversation. And later, before we went to tribal, Setu went down to the water well with me. And you see at the end of the episode, Setu and I walking back from tribal. And when we went down there, he's like, so what's the plan? I'm like, we already talked about the plan. He's like, right, we're voting Kaya out. And I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, we're voting Kai, and he's got this huge grin on his face, like that's the plan. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like that's never been the plan. The whole plan the entire time has been to vote Sheree. He's like, oh yeah, no, we're voting. Are you sure? I'm like, yeah, I'm 100% sure. We are voting Sheree out, right? Or Sheree out, and he's like, yeah, no, yes. And all of a sudden, like he didn't know what to say, and he just had this big old grin on his face. He's like, oh shit, like what was I supposed to say? So that even put up more red flags in my head, and I'm like, okay, am I getting paranoid? Is he just going over his head right now? Like, I'm like, I was starting to get really suspicious when I came back to camp because everything kind of just like took a turn with everyone, just the way they were talking to me. Like, it was just the mood changed. Like, people weren't looking at me as much, and people weren't talking to me as much. They were all really bad liars, and then especially when we got to the tribal, and no one would look at me. I would like just kind of stare at people. Like I was sitting next to Stefan, and I was just sitting there staring at him, and he would not look. He would not turn his head. He would not stare at me. I just kind of kept looking at him, like trying to be like, Stefan, and he was just sitting there like, because he didn't want to look me in the face. And every time I look at Setu, he'd just be like, big old crabby.
That's his face.
That's just his face, yeah.
That's
So
his face.
he was smiling the whole time, but like everyone else like would not look at me, and I'm like, oh God, I'm gone. So at that point, it was like, I might be paranoid, so I don't want to blow up Tribal, because if I blow up Tribal and it's all in my head, it's just going to guarantee that I go out. But if I'm right and I do blow up Tribal, it's going to be wonderful. And I was just trying to fight with myself on like, I didn't know what I wanted to do, because I couldn't tell if I was just being paranoid or if I was just trust my gut. And I should have just trusted my gut, because I even left a clip on the iPad right before I left that said, yeah, I think I might not be coming back. So this might be my last confession. So I kind of knew it was happening. But I was hoping that I was wrong, and that like my relationships I built were going to hold up, and I was just being paranoid. But once Hunter asked the question about the bathroom trips and Nico and the bathroom trips, and everyone just started laughing, I'm like, oh shit. So I kind of knew at that point I was gone. So there wasn't really a lot. And once it happens so quickly, and it's such a short game in this time frame. There's not a lot of time to flip things. Like there might be in a normal Survivor game where you've got 3 days to kind of catch stuff and flip it around. It's so much faster when things turn.
Yeah.
That answers your question.
Yeah.
There's a lot of questions and answers.
Marissa, Heather, do you have any questions for Jaden before we get into the discussion of the episode itself?
Yeah, any questions for Jaden?
I mean, excuse me, for Nico.
Ask me whatever you want.
Okay, I got one.
Well, the chat says you're dreamy, Jaden, just so you know.
Yeah, you have some fans in the chat,
Okay,
right?
really?
Yes. There's also some
I already know.
thing going on as
So,
well.
so Nico,
And there's
Yeah.
also 2 people who have actively started regular Survivor discussions in the chat.
oh, well, you're in the wrong place.
Yeah.
So Nico,
One-time player to never win.
did you trust your gut when you picked out that outfit? Is my question.
Well, I mean, this outfit, yeah, 100%.
What possessed you?
Are you going to criticize him for his choice of outfit?
It's just a question.
So-
That
Oh my
gut
gosh.
instinct. This is it. This is gonna be it. This is.
Well, no, so the
Well, but what
initial-
was the first outfit?
Yeah, so I'll talk about the first outfit.
Oh, there was
So-
a wardrobe change.
Oh yeah,
What was the
so
wardrobe change?
due to shipping issues, I had to kind of change my wardrobe at the last second, the day I drove over. So the initial wardrobe was, I was having a T-shirt designed specifically for the show, and it was gonna be Eric from season 1, face plastered, saying "I'm here to slam clam." And that was going to be my original T-shirt for the show. And I took the picture off of his Facebook page. I designed the T-shirt on Amazon. This was about a week and a half before I was going out when I started to think about wardrobe. The problem is I wasn't going to be able to get it shipped and delivered fast enough for me to be able to wear it on the show. And I didn't really want to drop like $30-something for priority shipping for the T-shirt.
Yeah.
To try to get it there faster.
If you would have told me, I probably would have paid that.
Without the guarantee that it was going to for sure arrive. So I decided instead that I would go to Walmart the morning of, and I was just going to find the most ridiculous graphic tee humanly possible, rip the sleeves off, and then I found a $5 Bob Ross T-shirt, and it was kind of just the end of the debate right there. So I figured between Bob Ross and my America shorts, like I feel like I had the wardrobe that was on point. So
You had an iconic wardrobe for sure.
yeah, so
See,
I
trust your gut.
yeah, and I should well, and see the thing is I played, like I said, the Hunter set talked about, I played a lot of online games, and I played for about 4 years, and I've probably played about 500 games, and I haven't played in a while, but I won a lot of games, I lost a lot of games, and I could always tell when something was going wrong, and most of the time when I thought something was going wrong, it usually was. And I still just didn't want to trust it. I was kind of like, I don't want to freak out. I don't want to be paranoid. But I didn't trust my gut, and I think that was the biggest problem. So, I think my biggest regret was not that I didn't try to flip something really quickly, because I knew that I probably wasn't going to be able to save myself, but I wanted to at least, call it out, blow it up at tribal a bit.
You know what? To speak on that, that's a theme this season that is also, like we talked in last episode, stuff that I can't present in the edit, is the fact that, number one, things could be so close that you cannot possibly flip them. Or two, there are things that happen this season that literally are so close that they are flipped in a matter of seconds, and you're just like, what the heck just happened? Yeah. So much that, like, there are going to be times where I'm using confessionals from the next episode to explain stuff, because there was a couple tribal councils this season where I went to tribal council thinking one thing and something completely different happened. Completely different. Like, I was blindsided. Completely.
Really?
Blindsided. Oh yeah. Several times.
Hunter and I would be texting, like, just during the time, because, like, I'm in Australia and I couldn't be here. And I'd be like, okay, who's going home to this tribal council? And he's like, I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Am I allowed to talk about, like, helping out at all, or, like, post, or not that I didn't just mention it?
Nico stayed and helped. Nico was Hayden too. And so he got voted out and he stayed and helped, and he was a big help.
I was just going to say that, I was going to attest to that I remember multiple times after I was voted out, when I was helping out with production, you would come sprinting up to me like, oh my God, you're not going to believe what's about to happen. And you'd be so stoked. And then we go to tribal and something completely different would happen. And we're like, Hunter, what the fuck? Like, that wasn't exciting at all.
To be fair, here's the thing though. Here's the thing, is even when I was wrong, the outcome was still, like, just as good as the plan.
Most of the times, there was one that was.
There was one vote that is, like, absolutely. I thought, I was like, this is going to be the single greatest moment in the history of Survivor.
I don't know which. Yeah, I don't know which one. There's two that you would be talking about, but yeah.
Yeah, they're. Okay. The other one, not the one that I really freaked out on, but the other one that I made Brett go and do a bunch of work for.
Yeah, okay, that's the one I'm thinking about.
Not Brett, sorry.
I feel like no one else.
Jack, the cameraman. They look the same.
Identical.
I made him do a bunch of work for.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
And it didn't end up happening. That one turned out better.
The way it happened. Yeah. No, it.
Okay. We're done talking about. We're done talking about
it.
Teacher stuff. Okay.
Let's talk about things that have happened.
What else? Are we ready to talk about the episode?
Yes.
Okay. This is up to you. I'm letting you guys lead the charge on this one. Episode 2. Nobody is.
We need to lead the charge.
Okay, Carbonado gets back from tribal council.
Something.
I was excited because after the Molly boot, that was pretty simple, unanimous 7-1. So I wasn't sure how they were going to be coming back. But then as soon as they did, they, like, fractured into 2 different alliances, and then there's flippers already. And I'm like, if they went back to tribal council this episode, I wouldn't have known what happened. So I was excited that it kind of picked up steam.
There's a lot of ass cam, I've noticed. Was that on purpose, or?
When was the one this episode?
Oh, like 2 or 3 different times. Different people's, like, I was like, whoa, they're up here.
Or wait, when was the ass shot?
Yeah, at the beginning. There was, like, 3 different ass shots. It was, like, one of the guys and 2 of the girls at 3 different points, and there was a lot of ass focus.
I didn't notice.
I didn't notice it with this episode.
Well,
I remember, like, I know that Sarah and Erica stood close to the iPad. That's the only time I could think that they're.
There are a couple of conversations that were close, but it was like bellies then butts.
Right.
Yeah.
Not even those, just like them.
I think
like,
I cut out the butt because usually I think it was during the West Sarah Erica conversation that started out, and it was like just an ass shot, and then she stepped out of the way, and I was like,
there's a lot of West ass in this season.
Definitely putting that in. There is lots of butts and lots of pissing.
Yeah. Is that a theme?
Some
foreshadowing?
It's Survivor. Bunch of good-looking people stranded together.
I will say that I put together the West montage in episode 1 intentionally because I thought it looked funny. I just thought it was hilarious, like falling around. He had like it was just like on all fours, and his ass is just like perked into the air half the time. But I didn't remember anything from this episode. But hey, we can roll with it. We can think of a thematic point that brings.
Why
up.
not?
Gotta draw in the viewers.
I guess, yeah, I know. Exactly. If you're watching Survivor Washington for the plot, you're lying.
It's for the thirst.
But yes, it was interesting to see because they were so kind of almost like anti-strategy in a way in the beginning, and it's kind of like things just like blew up once Molly left. Like it was interesting because it was like Sean was saying that he was with, so it's Erica and Wes and
Sarah.
Yes. But it doesn't seem like he ever really trusted them. And then it's
that conversation. I just want to say about that conversation. If you watch it back, and you'll notice that Erica says to Wes, all these people are saying you're sketchy. He has zero reaction. It's almost a subtle head nod, like, okay. And then it's like they think you're sneaking around and listening to confessionals. He's like, whoa, absolutely not. These people are crazy. And to me, that's him being like, yeah, I know I'm sketchy, but that wasn't how I was being sketchy. Like, what are you talking about? It's like that admittance of, yeah, I'm being real sketchy, but that's how they think. Like they're not recognizing the actual sketchy things. It was like he was offended. That's what they thought he was stooping to. That's what I kind of thought was interesting.
I love that.
Well, it seems like he went into it like assuming he was gonna be perceived that way. Like it kind of felt similar to in Cambodia, where Steven, it was like anytime he went anywhere, it was like, oh, like that strategist, that know-it-all looking for the idol. He talks about how it's like because of he was being perceived a certain way compared to other players, that it's like he was just always assumed to be looking for the idol. Whereas if someone like Jeremy goes off, it's not as suspicious because he's not considered like the Survivor nerd or someone who's sneaky. And Wes talked about in the whole like sequence when he was looking for the idol, how he's going to be a target just off the bat because of how he's perceived and stuff like that. So I wonder if that's sort of him playing into it, like thinking people are going to think that I'm sneaky anyway, so if they're going to think I'm that way, I might as well have the idol since they're going to think that I'm looking for it and finding it anyways.
Well, in West,
you're out there crawling around like elbow deep in a tree. And what do you think was supposed to think?
And the best part about that was Brett and Emma were so casual about the fact that Wes was just openly looking for the clue that at that point you pretty much just assume he's been doing that for so long that he's just like, I don't really care anymore. I'm just I'll do this in front of everybody.
I mean, he came to play. He had the idol outfit, the clue. He was set. He was ready. He had a special pocket.
Wait, when he found the idol, I couldn't tell if it was just editing, but did he actually find it with like Brett and all that right around?
Yeah, he put it right there. Yeah, he found it. He pulled it right out, and put it in his pocket at that moment.
Good job.
And they didn't notice, which is impressive.
Was Brett like tips toes down the tree?
Yeah, Brett was
right there.
Brett was right there. Emma was right there.
Yeah, see, but the one thing I'm surprised about, going back to that with the group and everything, is that I'm glad to see Wes pretty much just like rough his, but he originally
did Heather just cut out for anybody else?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, Heather, can you restate what you just said?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you. You just cut out. Like,
where did you lose me?
You started saying, right when you started talking, you said like the first three were like Wes something.
So it was like originally, I was saying I was glad to see him like actually putting together a group and not just like scampering off in the bushes looking for idols. But it was interesting because originally it seemed more like he was targeting Sean and Connor, and then he ended up putting Sean as kind of like that pivotal fourth person in a 7-person tribe. And I was kind of surprised because originally what we had seen was that Erica and Emma were close. But when it came to the explanations of the tribe breakdowns, it was kind of as if they were on opposite sides. So I was really surprised that he was including Sean in that group instead of Emma. But it's
that's a good point.
my prediction is that she's going to go with that group because I don't really see much of a connection between her and Brett and Connor. And we know that Brett's not like a fan of her in terms of the game. So
and the other thing about that scene is then you also have the scene where they approach Emma and ask her if she wants to form an alliance, and she says, "I'm not really looking for anything right now." It's like she's rejecting that.
Like that awkward like approach at the bar, and it's like, "Can I buy you a drink?" And the girl's just like, "I'm not really like looking to start up a relationship." And I was like, "Bitch, I just asked if you wanted a drink." Like, it's like she was looking so far down the line. It was like, you have something in front of you, do something with it.
And it wasn't even like Kristen in the first season. Celeste went up to Kristen and asked if she wanted to make an alliance, and Kristen says, "Sorry, I already have a few alliances." It's not even like that. That's one thing, and then this is entirely another thing. It's like, I don't really want to do that, but I mean, like, I guess Eric did that in the first season as well.
They did the same thing. I think Wes said to Emma, he was like, "Oh, do you want Sarah out next?" And Emma was just like, "That's like last case scenario. I don't want to say anything." So she seems kind of doesn't want to commit.
Do you guys think that that's a good strategy on a strategic tribe like Carbonado?
Yeah.
What, to not jump into an alliance?
Nico, what about you? Do you think that is because I mean, you're on the other hand, you're on the I'm going to make alliances. What is your view on Emma's reluctance to make alliances in the second episode?
Well, I mean, it kind of depended on, I mean, if she saw others forming alliances, I mean, if she sees everyone else forming alliances and she's not making alliances, then I think it's silly. If she's making at least bonds and relationships, to try to at least make sure that when people are talking, they're not bringing up her name without her having to actually give any like legitimate commitments to anyone. I mean, it can be a good strategy. It kind of just depends on how she plays it. I mean, I think she was doing an all right job with it. I mean, I don't think anyone was like super turned off by her. I think it would have been more, if anything, they look at her a threat just because she's, a Division I athlete, apparently.
Yeah.
I stated many times.
Did you know she was a college athlete?
I didn't even know.
She is a college athlete, right?
Yeah. Look.
Division I.
I sailed Division I in college, but you don't see me strolling around town in a sailor cap. Like, let's tone it down a little bit. Let's roll it back.
Yeah, it's just it's like at the same time it's so odd for me that they were approaching her because it just didn't seem like she was someone who would really mesh with their group. But you definitely need to you can find like a balance between
she doesn't come
not making promises you can't keep, but also just not like just making it clear to someone that you're not going to work with them, because that's just, you need to keep your options open because you never know what's going to happen. And if someone came to you and are like, I'm good, and then you end up in a situation where you need their vote, and that's like too little too late.
Yeah. I think there's a difference between like taking the approach of it's early and I'm trying to we're all just feeling things out. Let's kind of see where we're going with things, versus it almost comes off as closed off and non-meshable. Like, it doesn't matter what you approach me with at any point. Like, I'm just not here to work cooperatively towards whoever is putting something together.
Yeah.
Like, she's not open to it in general.
Yeah, and people are definitely picking up on that too, it seems.
Yeah.
But I mean, even everyone in like the Sarah, Wes, and Erica alliance are all like at least 14 years older than Emma.
Yeah.
Even though I think she would go with that.
Like Erica, I think Erica's the youngest at 33.
Sarah, you mean?
Sarah is the youngest out of the three that Emma's with, or that she would go with. I mean,
19 and 33. It's 14. But yeah, but like Brett and Connor and even Sean are all like much closer to her age.
Yeah. I'll be interested to see how that all holds up.
Yeah, I'm just worried for Sean because I feel like he's gonna jump ship, but then there's still not gonna be the numbers, and he's just kind of gonna end up screwed over with nothing.
Yeah, I just want to. Sorry, Heather. I'm so sorry for interrupting you right there.
It's okay. That was it.
Okay, I apologize. To Joe Blow, Heather and Marissa are giving fan insight on the episode so that we can discuss spoiler-free predictions and have a discussion on the episode for people who were not there. Jaden is my assistant producer, and he helps with editing.
Yeah, I wasn't on the show.
They weren't contestants on the show. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I feel like if they don't know that, they haven't been watching.
We've had a very
the
consistent
super fan thing is catching on, I guess.
Yeah, the super fan. Lampkins. I haven't
That
heard.
what I am
Oh,
now?
actually, Lampkins just commented on one of the videos. Shout out to Logan Lampkins. I consider him our resident super. I don't know why. I just think he comments on every video. I give him free patronage.
Oh, that's nice. Must be nice.
Yeah. Nico's paying to be a part of
loser.
something for free, but it's appreciated. It's payback. Plug for the Survivor Washington Patreon. We are, after this season, going to be changing the name to Washington Survival, and we will be using our own music so that we can make money off of this to help fund future seasons. So check out our Patreon.
Marketing.
Survivor Washington. What?
You didn't tell me this.
I'm sorry.
Surprise.
Oh no, yeah. I decided it very recently, and I have not told anybody but myself because it's still
decided
it's
right
still
now.
very low key. It's very low key.
Did
You just
Washington-
announced it on YouTube Live.
Did CBS contact you too?
Oh, okay. Well,
Just put it out there.
yeah, there were some issues recently with Survivor Canada that CBS made them take down, or is not letting them use the name Survivor Canada. And,
Yeah, they're not even Americans.
yeah, which I'm thinking that, hey, it's because they trademarked Survivor Canada or Canadian Survivor like they did with Australian Survivor.
And Big Brother.
Because like they got to give them the rights. You can't just like say, all right, TV station, here you go, make your own Survivor. Like you have to. CBS controls the rights, obviously,
Yeah.
primarily because they own it. But
I don't think that means the Canadian Survivor's coming. Oftentimes people just like grab the rights and sit on them.
I
so
would-
no one.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would not want to play Survivor Canada.
exactly, I'm thinking. I don't think it's like lands. I'm thinking that it's like, well, no, not like in Canada, but like how Australian Survivor does theirs in Samoa, or New Zealand does theirs in Nicaragua. But the
Yeah, so I would
I'm
not want to
thinking,
play in
Jane,
Canada.
I think that they're doing it just as a in case they wanted to do it, because I mean it's not like you need to do much to trademark anything. I know that what's been trademarked for like a super long time. Something big has been trademarked for a super long time. But
McDonald's.
what was I think it was the Han Solo movie. It was trademarked for like 8 years or something like that.
Oh yeah.
It's not the directors.
Okay, so what else in this episode? There's a lot in this episode.
Nothing else happened. They would end
Yeah.
that the initial scene.
Okay.
No, I think
Do
we
you want
went.
to talk
what
about
about-
the Wilson tribe?
The what? The Wilkeson tribe?
Yeah,
I
think-
liked Lindsay's confessional, and I don't even know what she said, but she got her hands up. I'm like, oh god, she's about to do Culpepper math. She started looking at her hands, and I'm like,
I
oh
can
no,
turn that
Lindsay,
an homage.
focus. Yes, I'm like, focus. You can do this. Do the numbers.
I think
Yeah, she
Emma
did.
next episode has a confessional where she says final two, but she goes like this.
Yes.
So
So much awkward silence.
but
Yeah, it was-
yeah, Wilkeson was interesting with the way the strategy developed this episode.
Yeah, it definitely
Yeah.
seems like there's more like smaller groups than one alliance versus another. Apparently, there's some sort of majority alliance that like most everyone is in to some degree or another. It's kind of confusing, but
That works
if
well.
you have
I want to.
Stefan, Kitty, and
Yep.
Corey, you
Heather just cut
have.
out. Did I cut out? I cut out.
Again?
didn't I?
Did I cut out?
No.
No,
No.
We're all
I
here.
definitely
No.
did, yeah.
So you
Yeah.
have Stefan, Kitty, and Corey, and then you have Kaya and
Lindsay and Kaya.
Lindsay.
Yeah.
There are other people who are sort of associate groups. Those seem to be the main.
Well, then you have
Alliances.
Corey, Sheree, and Satu as well.
Why
Oh, is
could
that in the
nobody
episode?
pronounce Sheree's name? That's my question. How many variations of Sheree's name did we get this episode?
Shanu?
Shanu,
A
Shanae,
lot.
Oh my god.
I
Sheree.
don't think anyone actually
Sharia.
said-
Sharia was my favorite.
Oh yeah, Sharia was very popular.
I wait for her to just drop that Sharia law. Be like, this is what we're doing. group. Real all.
I was thinking Sharia from like China. That's what I was thinking when I heard that. I was not thinking Sharia.
That's honestly that was honestly where I got the name, and I was kind of sticking with. I was kind of just rolling with the Survivor China references throughout the whole episode, so.
Yeah, that's what the names. People called Corey Cody. There was Niku, Noki.
Yeah, what? Okay, hang on. What happened? Am I jumping ahead by asking why did Lindsay think that Nico is spelled Noki?
That has been driving me crazy.
Social
Is that,
Dude,
is that an intro I don't know? Or is she like...
It's Lindsay.
I have no idea.
I
will say that there is worse spelling on a vote. There legitimately is a vote that is so poorly spelled this season that I could not read it, and I just did not. I didn't count it. Like I didn't want to go through the iPad and check on the vote, like who cast the vote. But it was so poor, and it wasn't even for a name that was hard either. It was a vote that I cannot possibly see how they spelled so horribly wrong without being intoxicated. Really?
And I
could have called them out and shames them like Jeff did to Clay when he's the Denver diva.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't even read it. I literally just didn't even. I was like, I don't even know what this says. I'm not going to count this as a vote. I still don't even know if it was actually for the person that I thought it went to. Like it could have very well been somebody else that I just didn't know.
I like Setu's monstrosity of like a vote where he just did like this art piece and then kind of wrote Nico in it, but it was mostly just a drawing.
Yes.
I know. It was going to be a 1 hour and 20 minute video or 1 hour 20 minute episode, but I had to cut the Setu writing his vote out. It went down to 4 minutes.
Extra content. Join Patreon.
Yeah.
I really appreciated Kitty's like perfect handwriting too. It's up there with Colby Font.
But I did not. I will publicly say that I did not state what Eric Jones just put in the chat. This is fake news.
Fake news.
So we got a tribal council. What about the awesome challenge comeback? The challenge in general was
I told you that people thought it was fake just because the last point worked out like so ridiculously over the top well. Like Kitty did a front flip out of the square.
Questionably. She was questionably out of bounds.
She was totally out of bounds.
No,
Questionable.
Completely. Can we slow-mo get down in there? But every time Connor stepped into that ring, he just had this, you get close-ups of it too. He just this look at his face like, my mom said this bus was going to math camp. Why? How did I end up here? Like, I did not sign up for this. Just like this look of, oh no.
I felt
so
bad.
Like, I almost expected more of like a, like I know I'm not gonna win. Like more of a jokey attitude, but he went into it so.
Kind of like when they put Randy up against James in Heroes vs. the Villains.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Pretty much.
And he taunted him, and James just beat the crap out of him.
Also, in that challenge,
they naturally to cover that was a so. I mean, if in case it wasn't clear, Carbonado shifted all of their strongest to weakest down so that they would have three people that were playing against, or 5 people that were playing against somebody who was in a level below them in exchange for their first person who was playing, or their weakest person playing against the strongest.
Human sacrifice.
So it had Sarah. Sarah was considered their weakest going up against Wilkerson's strongest. So they almost screwed themselves.
I was wondering about that.
Yeah, that was very, very.
She had said that she was like
not
really good at challenges and like sit her out if need be.
Ooh, Sarah.
Yeah,
it was my
but she did well in the challenge.
We actually pitched that strategy too. I actually brought it up beforehand in the strategy that they used to put Connor first against Setu, and not realizing that they were also going to do it, so it kind of nullified everything. But we actually discussed it as well and said, hey, should I just go first because they're all going to kick my ass anyway? So let's give you all better matchups, better odds on the guy side.
Well, it worked. It's a good strategy.
But we didn't do it, and then it ended up.
It didn't really work though,
because they put Connor up, and he had to go twice, and Setu destroyed him twice.
It's like they won it with their girls, not with the boys. Like I went through, and it was the only rounds with the men where they won was
Me.
Well, it was that and Sean beat Stefan.
Yeah, I don't know.
So it's not. It didn't.
Oh yeah, when Stefan like ran past him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
In the first round, I don't know, like literally watching that, it was giving me like throwbacks to Heroes versus Villains, where Coach just drops his bag and just tries. What do you try to do? Like karate chop the other guy? That's what I remember. Like Wes just drops his like inflatable and just like tries to like barrel roll. I'm like that's
Yeah, I was like, what is he doing?
No, it's just such a Coach moment. Just like us, the game, karate. Like you can't. What kind of strategy is that?
Yeah, that was very questionable.
Very. Yeah.
No, I was gonna say I noticed like the look of terror on Connor's face when he realized he had to go up against Setu is actually his intro shot. So now every time I said the intro, I laugh a little bit.
Yeah, that's funny. There's the look of doom. He's like, I don't know why my tribe is. Why do I have to do this? Why? What
why
have I done?
am
What sins have I committed?
This is not Moscow.
I felt really bad for him because I've been in like scenarios that felt like that and didn't go well.
Yeah, and I was when I went up against Brett. Once I knew I was going up against Brett, like in the brief seconds that I was actually in the ring, I was trying to decide if I should like sidestep, if I should just duck and just fall between his legs and have him just run over me, or if I just should just like put my arms out and just like get beaten gracefully. And while I was trying to think of what I was going to do,
all the way to die.
Yeah, he kind of just ran me over. So that was a very quick. He kind of decided for me.
Quick death.
Yeah, quick, swift death. So I figured that I could get my ass kicked, and that other people having already got their ass kicked, I wouldn't be the target because of that. Especially since I'd done well on the first challenge, so I wasn't really concerned about my challenge unless I had to go twice. If I would have had to go a second time, I probably would have tried harder because I didn't want to actually lose the challenge, but I was okay with us losing a point if I went. Like I said, and I thought when Kitty went up against Sarah after beating her the first time, I thought we were gonna have it unlock. Unfortunately, that did not happen. Yeah. Therefore, my downfall.
Kitty or Sarah pulled the surprise challenge beast.
I'm so happy for Sarah.
That was great. I really like Sarah.
She like the skill of putting her feet inside the ring was like an NFL player's skill, like getting their feet in.
When she almost went out on the other side by like this much, yeah, she almost went out before she rolled Kitty over. When she went to the ground, and she barely kept herself in because we thought it was over for a second, but then you didn't call it, so then they kept going. So right before, probably 4 or 5 seconds before Kitty went, they rolled to the other side, and Kitty got flipped over in the other corner when Sarah went to the ground. She didn't have both feet out though. She only had part of her foot was out, and we weren't sure if she was considered out or not.
I encourage the people. I know that there are a lot of people watching right now, and a lot of people that are active. I love the discussion. I encourage you guys to ask questions.
How are you guys seeing the discussion? I don't know what's happening.
You have to click on the YouTube link.
Oh.
I did that. I didn't see any discussion.
But just make sure that
it's a live chat on the
mute it, or it's gonna start playing back
Yeah, I paused
this is great. I love the consistent viewership you're having.
Having podcasted through this method before. Oh, there's a live chat. What do you know?
So there's a lot of.
Then they want to know what hair product to use.
All of them.
Moose. There we go. That's a good question. Nico, did you get a fair edit?
All right, say that again. I missed the question.
Oh, Nico, did you get a fair edit?
I got a fair edit. I mean, most of what I said was pretty much put into the episode. Like I said, it was. I think it was portrayed more of a blindside than it really was, but I was fine with that. I expected it to be that way for production value, and I'm totally cool with that. I'd say I got a fair edit. I don't think I did or anything was misportrayed or anything like that. I don't know. and this is the one thing I'll say that I don't think was entirely portrayed in the episode, in terms of the reason I was voted out, because a lot of the reason I was being voted out was the trips back and forth to the water well. But I think it was more so, and I think this wasn't aired because there wasn't actually footage of it. But somebody told Lindsay that I was targeting Lindsay, and I wasn't. And I think that's what really started the ball rolling, because you see Lindsay mouth to the camera, "I want him out," and she wasn't doing that before because her and I had talked and we were good. And then someone told her, well, I don't know if it was maybe Corey or Setu, or it could have been Kitty. It could have been someone. I think what happened is in one of our groupings, one of my few groupings at the water well, it was myself and I think Setu and Corey were there, and then maybe Kitty and Stefan or Kaya, a couple of the other ones, and not Lindsay. And they were saying, "So let's make an alliance." And so I'm like, "Yeah, sure, we'll make an alliance." And then so-and-so, Sheree and Lindsay and whoever else, they'll be the first ones to go. Because I'm obviously not going to say, first we'll vote out Corey, first we'll vote out, then we'll vote out Setu when they're standing right there. So it was more of a BSing to the group that I was with, having already made an alliance with the other 5 of Kitty and Kaya and Stefan and Lindsay. So I think someone in that grouping went back to Lindsay and told Lindsay that I was gunning for her, and she never came back and cross-referenced, and I never got a chance to go back and talk to her because I didn't even think it was going to be an issue. And Lindsay, I think, really drove the vote towards it going on to me, and I think it was a lot of paranoia from her that kind of helped drive that out. So part of it was the water well stuff too, and I think that was just, you really just need to find a reason to get the group to agree to it. But I do think that Lindsay kind of steered it a bit, and I think it was from what I've heard, it was a lot of someone said something to Lindsay, and that's what kind of started to drive it.
And to speak on that, that's one thing that Lindsay's thought that somebody had said her name. The idea was there was no footage that actually depicted that. I know that you didn't talk about mentioning Lindsay in confessionals. Kaya didn't mention anything because supposedly it was from Kaya. Just you heard that.
And I can say now in the chat, and this is in our Survivor chat, Lindsay's saying that is 100% accurate. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, hi, Lindsay.
So I
was really impressed with Lindsay in this episode.
Yeah. So okay, I want to know from Marissa and Heather, who are your players of the week?
Nah, what's Kitty? Kitty told her.
What?
I mean,
Kitty told. Oh, right. Yeah,
Kitty. She said Kitty told her that I was doing that.
Yeah, no, Kaya is my sleeper pick. Because going into this, I was like, my guess is she's gonna be like a little bit of a introvert. We'll see how this goes. And all of a sudden she just starts coming out ruthless in these confessionals, and I'm like, oh, okay, girl, I can get on board with this. Sign me up. I will take some of that. So
she said in her pregame interview that she was a habitual liar in high school.
I love that. I love that so much. I love that it's real. And I feel like she's maybe coming off to these people as like, oh, I'm like this sweet little cherub. And then she comes to confessional. She's like, fuck these people. Like, I've been doing what I want. I'm like, I like that. I see what you're doing there, and I like it.
Well, and I was cringing in Kaya's when I did her Meet the Cast interview, and I was like, because she talks about she thought she was gonna be the first one out, and I'm like,
yeah,
oh god, okay. And then she's like, I'm gonna backstab. She's basically what a skinny white 20-year-old Survivor fan would be like in her Meet the Cast interview, and I was like,
whoa.
I was like, you're a skinny white man, and I was like, I don't think you really know. Like, I mean, you're playing this up for the camera, and I was like cringing a little bit. And then she gets out there, and she's literally like, yeah, I don't trust these people. I'm playing like this is my game, and it was just like, I like this. This is good TV.
I put on Reddit that I think she's like the best at confessionals in the cast. Just yeah. I don't find anything cringy.
I'm here for it.
Yeah, no, for sure. And she's and I didn't find her cringy talking. I thought just the words that she was saying. I was like, you're not gonna be like this. Like, if you think that nobody's ever like this, people say that they're gonna be like this and then they're not. And then she comes out there, and especially when I asked her about the idol clue at Tribal Council, and she was able to respond. I mean, she's a really, really good liar.
Yeah, I love it. Well. I'm here for it. I'm ready.
Yeah. See, my concern with her is that she seems so. she's always talking about how she doesn't trust people, and it's good not to get safe, but I'm starting to get nervous that she might be a little bit too much in like the backstabbing mindset and may start just like cutting people just for the sake of it. And it's like you do need to cut people at certain points, but like when you're like way early in the pre-merge and you're are you talking about like, oh, like I don't trust this girl as much as she trusts me because I don't trust anyone, and it kind of feels like she may just have a hard time winning a jury vote with the attitude that she has in the game that she may play, but she's definitely going to be good TV.
So
That's for sure.
Who's your sleeper pick then, Heather?
Sleeper pick I would put as Sarah. I really like her. It really would depend on her getting a good group, but I think that she definitely has what it takes to get to the end and pull it out.
So just Eli posted a question in the chat for me.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah, I was going to ask that. And we got Eli Evers, the runner-up of Survivor Washington Sumner.
Yeah, he's actually who I listed on my profile as from the season 1, who I related myself to. So second out instead of second place. He asked me if what inspired me to have a clam slamming shirt. I mean, I feel like it was pretty self-explanatory. I mean, it was just kind of a wonderful thing, and why not put it on a shirt? And to whoever Sanity Zuzu is to ask if it's still going to be good without me, no, it's not. It's going to be terrible. Just don't watch.
I'm gonna do that statement for the sake of ratings.
No, seriously, keep watching. It's going to be awesome. No,
it's very Nico. What I love about this season is everybody's awesome. Literally everybody delivers. This is a very, very, very good cast. And like Nico's out, and that's sad, but like because Nico's out, there's more room now for other people to step up and be the front and center attention. So
yeah, I can't whore the camera anymore.
Yeah, Nico can't whore the camera.
It's my swan song.
What are you guys thinking of Kitty's game so far? I feel like she's been the most dominant person in terms of like airtime, at least.
Yeah,
I mean,
I really like that.
Yeah, she's doing great management with Lindsay. Obviously, they've bonded.
Management.
Especially after throwing a tree at her.
Yeah, she's thrown a tree at her. She's potty trained her.
Yeah.
She's putting in work. Yeah.
Yeah, I love Kitty. It's in some ways she almost reminds me of Dina from Survivor Amazon, except like much younger, obviously, and not entirely the same, but just in terms of being kind of the player that she is. But I'm just so nervous because when you hear the confessionals, it's like I just feel like this cast, everyone on it is constantly assessing like all the other players and their place in alliances and stuff like that, like already. And I feel like she's just such an obvious target that I'm so afraid she's gonna like by like the merge. I feel like if there was like a less seasoned group, I feel like she'd be my winner pick for sure. But I'm so afraid that she's gonna get taken out.
Wait, okay. Patrick in the chat asks, what are your thoughts on the Hinky vote for Lindsay? Just to whoever.
I was confused about that.
Yeah, Marissa, that was it was obviously revealed in the episode at the end that Corey Corey voted for Lindsay.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know why he picked Lindsay as well, because like you can throw a Hinky vote at anybody.
I actually talked about throwing a Hinky vote. I don't remember if Hunter remembers that.
I mean,
it was in the confession. I almost put it in, but I didn't want people to get confused. And think,
it was mostly because there started to be a little bit of idol paranoia at camp, and in the off chance that Sheree had found an idol, I thought about throwing a vote just in case, because I had no relationship with Sheree, so I thought there'd be a chance that she was going to vote for me, assuming that my group wasn't also voting for me, and that if she threw a vote at me and then she idled and then it was me, I threw a vote, and I talked about throwing one on Lindsay because I started to get some uncomfortable vibes from Lindsay right before Tribal, so it was kind of just a last-second thing that I considered. I ended up not doing it. If I had, it would have been 2 votes, and I think that would have more furthered the idea that I was going after her and I wasn't. But yeah, it didn't happen. But I talked about that too. I had Kevin on the
Brett
mind.
said, it's the root of all evil.
When you're at Tribal and you saw that there was a vote for Lindsay, did you like have any idea who that would have been, or were you just like,
Me?
yeah?
No, I had no idea who it was. I thought, for a second, I thought it was maybe Sheree, and I thought maybe they were all voting for me, and then Sheree just threw a random vote at somebody, and then I voted for Sheree. And so initially, I thought that's who it was. I found out later, obviously, that it was Corey, as you see in the episode. But yeah, I had no idea that it was Corey. That kind of came out of the blue. So.
Yeah, that was my one concern with Lindsay, is that she mentioned, and I did like the strategy of bringing in the stragglers and the loners, but Corey was one of the ones that she mentioned, which was surprising because as far as we've seen, he's been one of the most connected people in the game. But so I'm worried that may be a blind spot for her, where she may not necessarily identify that he was the one that threw that vote at her. And he did say, it might not have been him specifically, but I think it was when they were talking about their group, and she was specifically mentioned as someone who was like not in the core group. So I feel like she can turn it around, but I just hope that she can figure out who did it and figure out the right way to get in everyone's good graces.
Well, and Corey was doing more than I even realized he was doing. Like with all the confessionals about all the alliances he was making, I didn't even realize he was making all those alliances. Like in my mind, I thought he was on the outs because I had, like I said, I had my core 5 alliance. Then I had talked to him and I had talked to Setu. Like I said, I had like a dual-sided 5-person alliance on each side. So I had no intention of working with Corey and Setu. I thought it was going to be Sheree, then I thought it was going to be Corey. And then hopefully I didn't expect us to lose that many times, but I thought Corey would be second to go after Sheree. So in my mind, he was in the outs, and he was doing a lot more gaming than I knew. And I should have expected it because I knew he had played some other live games before. But yeah, he was doing a lot more than I thought he was.
You knew that Corey played live games before.
Yeah, he brought it up. He said that he did it a lot. He had mentioned that he had played in games all over the country. So yeah, he didn't really keep that a secret.
Yeah, I guess with the group you guys had, it's not necessarily as much of a negative as it may be with like a bunch of people who've never even seen the show.
Yeah, like I talked about that I had done a Survivor podcast before, and I had talked to Survivor contestants, and I think the only things I lied about is I didn't tell people I was in sales because I didn't want people to think I was kind of swarmy, or I didn't want people to think I had like a salesman attitude. And I didn't. Yeah, and I didn't initially tell them that I was married. I went into the game not wearing a wedding ring, and was only going to bring it up if directly asked, just kind of obscurely. And Marissa's just throwing her hands around. It was more of if everyone was single, and my wife knew that I was doing this, and she was fine with it.
Look, baby, I got a plan. I got this.
So she was like, just don't do anything stupid because it's all going to be on TV. So, but no, so I went in. Too. Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, whatever. And so I didn't wear my ring, and I was like, if everyone's single, if I feel like me being married is going to be a reason for me to get voted out because I'm the only married person there, then I'm just not going to bring it up.
Was that a legitimate fear? You actually thought people were going to vote you out because you were married?
I
didn't wear. I'm not wearing it now. I'm still.
You're still in the game.
I'm still in the game. And then I never told them while I was there that I had a daughter. I didn't tell them I had a kid until after.
The opposite of the Devin strategy from Big Brother 16.
Oh yeah. No, not Devin.
So when they asked me, because Lindsay asked me while we were sitting around and hanging out, she asked she started asking single or married, and at that point I was like, okay, so at that point I was trying to like, okay, do I lie or do I tell the truth? Do I lie or do I tell the truth? And I'm like, no, I'll just tell the truth.
Yeah,
I don't want to
have a pro. Better keep it secret.
I don't want to have an unnecessary lie that I don't need to have in the game. So I just said, yeah, I'm married.
I'm married. Better have a ring. Don't ask questions.
And I just said I didn't bring my ring. I didn't bring my ring because I didn't want to lose it in the woods. my reason, and that was plenty viable. But I didn't mention I had a baby because I didn't want to be like, oh, he'll get a sympathy vote at the end because he has a baby and he needs the $1 million for his baby and because
$1 million?
yeah,
Which
it's $1
has
million.
never actually happened in a vote. People assume it.
It happens every time. It happens every time. I was taking no chances. So eventually afterwards, after I was voted out, I mentioned it later. But
You just never put it back on.
well, I didn't bring the ring with me. My wife had it with her.
But right now, at the moment.
No, I don't. Yeah, I just don't have it on. It was I haven't left my house today. So
Speaking of children of contestants, Sheree is my aunt, who she was not cast last second.
Conspiracy.
I legitimately wanted Sheree on the cast early on. She was once like maybe the 5th person cast, and I was like,
Did she do your hair? That's my like.
She does.
theory
No,
that,
she actually does.
yeah, she does.
She
Your
literally.
husband's getting his haircut, and he's just like, "Hey, would you like to play Survivor in my backyard with me?" And he somehow coaxed this woman into the woods.
Yeah, I know it's the same
she
last
loves it.
name,
No,
so
she was
I
excited. Yeah.
assume there's some kind of relation, especially since
wait,
she was the
hold
only one
on.
who didn't see the show.
The 2 of the 4 cameramen that we had, 2 of the 4, we had 4 people. 2 of them were her children, my cousins, my little cousins.
Gang's over here.
Did you see the post? Did you see the post from Scout?
Yeah, in the chat they said, "Hi, I know no one cares, but I filmed some of Survivor. Please get me famous."
We do care.
What,
It's not
11
just
and 12?
being famous, but we do
love
care.
you. We cannot acknowledge child labor.
We love you,
Yeah,
Scout.
we can't acknowledge.
Too much
But no,
liability.
Scout was Scout had 2 quotes this episode. She had the one during the physical challenge where she says in the background, "I don't like this challenge." And the second one, when Corey burped, she's the little tiny voice in the background that goes, "Oh my goodness," as is heavily in the background. So yeah,
that was when Corey burped, right?
So that'll be the scout out of the episode.
Yeah.
We'll start
That was
doing
during
scout outs each episode
Corey's
because I know
burping.
that Scout.
Oh
did
God,
the,
Hunter, you have her saying yeet? Oh no.
Oh no.
Okay.
We're
That's
bad
very
influence.
No.
Does anyone say yeet?
Scout
Oh, Hunter does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And evidently people related to Hunter.
Yeah, I think it's not a thing.
Shouldn't be a thing.
Next time, can you put interview participants? Yeah. So yes, absolutely. I don't see why I don't have any reason to not do that in the future. So yes, I will do that. But okay, so I know that we have significantly more people watching right now than we did before. So again, if you're just joining,
I bring in the people. Star
This is,
power.
We're just a beautiful
Nico, our
bunch
second
of
dude.
people talking about
Marissa,
Survivor. That's all you need to know.
Marissa and Heather, who are resident fans that are unspoiled in the show, and then Jaden Osborne, who is the assistant producer of Survivor Washington, who lives in Australia.
I'm Heather. That's
Yeah,
Marissa.
Heather and
Clarification.
Marissa. Yeah. So
So
what
for
are we,
everyone-
so yeah,
everyone
this
that
children
came in,
thing.
let's just
I know. So
start-
what
let's
it was
start
like.
over. Now that we have all the viewers,
So we
Yeah.
get back from tribal.
get back from tribal.
Yeah.
So Nico, let's just
Let's
get
talk about
Molly
the
in here.
application process.
What else?
Was there anything else in
Agenda
the
stuff.
episode you guys wanted to talk about? Alliances, who's playing well, who isn't playing well?
Who isn't playing well, in your guys' opinion?
Me.
I'd say it's not as much people who aren't playing well as people who, from their personality, I'm not getting the sense that they have the adaptability to win. That seems to be the overarching theme, is that there's seems to be a number of people that's like they're doing well so far, but it kind of seems like they want to work with who they want to work with. They have certain people they don't like it. If they don't like them, they don't want to work with them.
Yeah, the only person I think that I would say, not that she's playing bad, is maybe Sheree, just because I feel like if the perception of her is that she doesn't really care, like she's going to get to the end and like no one's going to want to vote for someone who's like indifferent, maybe. So she would maybe be the only one that I can think of right now.
She's kind of in that Ken spot where it's like among a bunch of super fans. Like just your approach to the game may not be taken as seriously, so she really has to prove herself, because if a bunch of super fans who may, some of them, I don't know, we'll see, have egos in terms of coming in thinking they're going to be a great player or whatever, and then to get beat by someone who like hasn't even really seen the show, like she's gonna have to definitely work harder than other people to earn the like respect that is pretty much needed to get the jury vote when it comes down to it.
Yeah, she was really trying to defend. I think it'll be. She's probably got like just the hardest time adapting, just because she probably really can't relate to that many people. So, big props to her for surviving a vote.
I really like her. I'm really looking forward to watching her. I feel like we could kind of get those like sassy confessionals a little bit. Like it made me think of like Erin from Token Chains when I was watching her confessionals.
Yeah.
I was kind of hoping we get to see a little bit more of that side of her because I do think she'll be a lot of fun.
You know what's really what disappoints me a lot, and this sucks. This sucks so bad. And I hate this. Is like Sheree by far on the Wilkerson tribe. I think it was that the first round I did confessionals had the best confessionals easily, but the microphone problem happened. And so she had to redo hers. She didn't redo hers with me. She redid it with the other cameraman, who I basically just told, I said, just go back there and tell them to restate what they said. So Sheree was the only one that kind of, in terms of confessionals, didn't restate as well. Which is why, like, in her early confessionals, you could see kind of like, oh, maybe Sheree's a bit dull. Like, oh, she's not having as fun. She's not experienced. But no, like, in reality, though, Sheree was, like, having just as much fun as everybody else and was just as into it as everybody else. It was just the issue of, like, most people were miraculously better at restating things. Sheree just kind of got hit on that effect that, the tiredness of having to restate that, which kind of sucked. But the early on, that first confessional was really, really good. She had like a Boston Rob type analysis of the rest of the contestants where she just slammed the tribe, which was, I mean, not slam, but like critiqued. And I thought it was funny. And I'm really disappointed that it didn't get to air.
I was waiting for a little bit more of that when she had the confessional after the challenge. And she was saying like how badly she got beat, but she just hopes that her tribe remembers the other people who also like got killed in the challenge. I was kind of waiting for her to throw the shade more directly because I didn't know. I was like, was she talking about Kitty in the last round? Because she didn't really get killed in that round by any means.
If you are a production member, if you were a member or you were involved in the situation, please refrain from any form of speculation, whether or not it's obvious speculation or whatever. No more.
So I think the real question is,
with the exception of Jaden,
with Sheree giving the Boston Rob, I'm assuming Marquesas, tribal analysis, and maybe I shouldn't ask this question. Who'd she say had the tiny sausage, or did that come up?
I should remember.
It seems more like Erica would be the one to make that comment.
Erica?
Yeah. Which I mean in a good way. I don't know if she's watching, but I mean that in a positive way.
Erica's out of town, unfortunately, and could not.
Do they not have Wi-Fi out of town?
I mean, she's like camping. Otherwise, I don't know. We could definitely ask.
She's a real survivor.
Get a hotspot.
Yeah, I feel like, and then Erica was another one that she rehashed pretty well, but that was only because I was guiding. So it was like, I'd say
she's soft-spoken.
Lindsay. Another one was Lindsay, because Lindsay, when I had her rehash, she rehashed for 10 seconds and then immediately went into what was going on right there. So there wasn't a ton of content, which is why she didn't get a lot of confessionals in the first episode. Was because the rehash was really, really short.
She was still such a large presence, though, that it wasn't as noticeable.
Yeah. Kitty did a very good job as well.
I think she was
She's
still
so good. I want her on Survivor.
I think she was shook from having to sit next to you when you realized the mics went out as you were
that's
screaming expletives for about 5-6 minutes straight, and she kind of sat there like the whole time, and we're all just sitting at camp just like twiddling sticks, and she had to be there within 3 feet of you, just like taking the brunt of it.
That was worse than the freak out in the first season.
Or the freak out like right before we started.
That wasn't a freak out.
Oh.
That was not a freak out. That was like I gave a speech. I wasn't like freak. I wasn't like.
There's like William Wallace. William Wallace has speech. I thought you were gonna shout out for freedom at the end of it. I wish we caught it on footage.
I wish.
All right. Let's move on, kids.
But the second speech was a very violent. I mean, like I had no hope. I had zero. I was like, this we're fucked. We're so screwed. The first speech, I was like, we're gonna do this. We're gonna get this done. We don't have crew, but we're gonna do it.
Well, I think the other thing, Hunter, that we should touch on from after I got voted out was our late night evening session in the Jeep when we were snuggle buddies.
Oh.
Yeah. Why? What
This
is
is
something
a
specific I
family
did in the
program.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Nico and I
Nico's.
slept in the back of the car. Yeah, Nico stayed, and we slept. We got a total of how many
There's
hours?
not a lot of body.
2 hours of sleep.
We're not like
Not
it was.
really effective.
And hey, you will find out why we got so little sleep. Episode 5, but
Become a Patreon, and you'll find out why.
we got no. Yeah, we got no sleep. That was uncomfortable in there. Oh, God.
Yeah.
Well, and the other person that was voted out that day that decided to stay and help, and the cameraman Jack slept outside on the bed of a truck, like just free. I mean, they had a ton of pillows and blankets to look comfortable, but like they were outside that whole night too.
Yeah, we just had the one sleeping bag, the one pillow, and we had to really snuggle for warmth. So.
Yeah, we were stuck in one sleeping bag together.
Yeah. It was an intimate moment, and that's how Hunter and I became best friends.
We had to like rub together for warmth. Yeah.
There was rubbing.
Before this gets too graphic.
And Nico shows me his left hand. He's like, "I'm not married," and I was like,
oh God.
Marissa.
Cameras aren't rolling, Hunter.
We should wrap this sucker up on that note.
Yeah.
should have wrapped it up.
Marissa, I want to know what you're thinking so far in terms of the players and everything, because we didn't get to hear from you last week.
I mean, I definitely like where Kaya's at. I'm interested to see where Connor's going, what side Sean ends up on. Sarah started to see a little more personality out of her this week to see if she can maybe be a little more personable with the tribe. Interested to see where she goes with that. What's his face? Joe Anglim light with the hair.
Corey.
I just want to brush. I just want to brush him with like one of those My Little Pony combs.
I feel like it's a little insulting to compare him to Joe Anglim, though, for being honest.
He's the Joe Anglim light, but he's got the locks. So I
The
enjoy
hair
that.
is where the comparison ends, I think. I think he's a much stronger player.
Yes. Well,
So
I'm
really
interested to see. However he plays, don't care. Just want to brush him. C2, definitely enjoy. I enjoyed his explanation of what DJs do. He's like, we do weddings, bar mitzvahs, parties. Like, I love the breakdown of what exactly a DJ does. So I enjoy him. I find him entertaining. So I would like to see him go far. See, I like a good narrator. I like someone who can move the plot along. I value that almost. If you can entertain me, then you can get your ass kicked in challenges all day long, and I'll still root for you.
You're
So
welcome.
that's where I'm at with the season.
Okay, so let's start wrapping this up. Marissa and Heather, your predictions for the next episode. Who's going to win immunity? Who will be voted out? Who will be the stars of next episode? Let's do those 3 questions. First up, who will win immunity next episode?
I think Wilkeson will win.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
Sean and maybe Emma will be the stars, and this is a hashtag big move, but I think it's gonna be sadly either Brett or Connor going home.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think Nico's gonna go.
So what are you thinking?
Definitely think it's gonna be Wilkeson.
Wilkeson winning?
Yeah, and I don't know. I'm really bad at this sort of thing.
I mean, I just had
Yeah,
no
I
idea
wouldn't-
what I was saying last time, and I ended up being right.
Like I nailed it. Yeah, I mean, I feel like they're in such turmoil with alliances that I feel like it could flip on a dime.
And who will be the breakout stars of next episode?
God, I hope Kaya comes in hot again with some confessionals because I live for that. Sign me up. That'd be my pick.
Heather?
I think with the predictions I already made, if they turn out to be true, I think that Sean's going to be one of the main stars, but I feel like he already was one of the big stars of this episode, so I don't know if that's an answer. So I guess maybe I'd say Sheree, because I think it's going to be fun once we get more confessionals from her, and I think she'll get a larger fan base once people get to see more of her.
Yeah.
All right, post final comments. What do we got?
Nothing. Thanks for having me.
I'm generally excited. I'm on board. Like, I am stoked. I'm eagerly awaiting. I watched last night's episode twice back to back. Sign me
I
up.
watched like 5 times because I was so nervous. Yeah, but it's gonna be good. It's like, I feel like I've just been repeating this and I sound so just like obnoxiously positive, but it's like everyone brings something to the table. There's no one who's like the Jillian from Big Brother this season, the one who's, I'm sure she's a nice girl, but just like kind of there. We don't really have anyone who's just there. Everyone is doing something.
Yeah, I love that.
Everyone's doing some kind of character, and it seems like things are going to continue to be exciting. So I'm sure we will not have any boring weeks. Even if it may take us a bit to get our stuff figured out. I don't think we're going to have a week where we're just like, so this person's running the game. They've been running the game. They're going to win.
Yeah. I think it's going to be a good season.
It's not Big Brother 19.
Oh.
Don't speak of it.
Thank God for that.
Yeah, it's a very, very, very good season. So again, before we wrap this up, so we have go ahead and check out our episode 2 description if you're interested in applying for season 3. Make sure you get those applications out. I think we're going to set a date here pretty soon. Nico and Jaden are both joining me on the production team. I'm letting things cool down. I'm stressed out right now making these episodes and going through college, but I'm excited to get season 3 going because I think it's going to be a blast. It's going to be awesome, and you do not want to miss out on it. So please apply. Make sure to vote in the episode 2 poll. And if you're interested in working on Crew, go ahead and fill out that application as well, because I got to say, Crew is one of the most fun experiences I think you could have. And arguably, I think that Crew can be considered more fun than playing when you are not completely stressed out 100% of the time. So season 3 of Survivor Washington should air towards the end of June, early July of 2018, or should film end of June, early July 2018. Until then, we have a great season of Survivor Washington coming up. So we hope that you tune in next week, or this week, Sunday, for a new episode of Survivor Washington Orting.
I have a quick shout out too. Shout out to Lindsay in memoriam, just to show her that I had no hard feelings. She made a comment in the first episode how I made a comment how I had to have been uncomfortable for her to have not worn underwear out into the woods. So as a showing of unity, I also did not wear underwear tonight. So
oh my God.
Lovely.
No, I won't stand up. No, I'll wait till we go off air.
Right, where can people follow on social media for Survivor Washington?
Yeah, go ahead and follow us on Twitter at Survivor WA. That's at Survivor WA. You can like us on Facebook at Survivor Washington. And, of course, our Patreon, Survivor Washington. Donate today and get access to the Patreon group, get exclusive content, and, of course, be able to interact with the contestants and the production of the past seasons. Exclusive content is coming out soon. I know, as I promised the patrons, you guys got to get in there, the people that I don't know personally, because I know that we've had a few that have come in, but the more patrons we have, the more likely it is to get some awesome content, to get some more stuff going. And I want to make a good group full of stuff that will really make people want to become patrons. But when we have no market, it's hard to do. So help us out, help fund season 3, get us some mics so our audio can be 1,000 times better, and
make sure they work.
And just keep commenting, liking, subscribing, sharing these videos all over the place. We need it. We love it. We love you guys a lot. And thank you for making us the #1 live reality game in the Survivor community.
Yeah.
We will see you all Sunday for episode 3 of Survivor Washington Orting.
Sweet.
Deuces.